What up, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag nor boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Kristen Don Well. I'm Kristen Don One. Welcome to another fabulous rendition of Just My Opinion podcast. I believe this is episode 5 or 6. How y'all living? I'm living swell. Feel free to be sure to hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its purposes, as well as hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this content with your friends, family, as well as your followers. You can also further support the Don Squad movement by doing super chats, super stickers. You can also hit the Keish app, $. I'm Chris the Don One. Welcome to my fabulous audience. I like to say welcome to my graveyard shift crew. Y'all almost you're at the home stretch, my friends. You're at the home stretch, my friends, to finally get out of that job and go to bed. Maybe you can listen to me along the way. To my early morning audience who just now woke up, welcome. I know you're starting your day. I like to appreciate you starting your day with your boy. I'm Kristen Don One. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about, is there trouble in paradise over there at the worldwide leader of sports? Excuse me, ESPN. We done a couple of videos. I mean, they're doing, when you talk about success, the ratings have never been, they've been at an all-time high. But is there trouble in paradise between Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Molly? Okay. We're also going to be talking about some news concerning Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe, about their contract dispute. I mean, about their contracts. We're also going to be talking about Fox Sports 1. Apparently, their afternoon programs have been very successful in the ratings. Okay, so what does that mean for the quote-unquote first take killer over there at Undisputed? We're going to be getting into that, as well as a lot of other things on the docket. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the first topic, which is there trouble in paradise with Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Molly? All right, now, First Take has been on a little over a month. They've been very successful in the ratings war when you compare them to the quote unquote First Take killers, Undisputed. The original First Take killers over there, Undisputed, had Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. It wasn't competition to First Take, because even though, Undisputed, when it first aired 7 years ago, they took the ratings over for one show, and it hasn't even been back and forth. It's just been all ESPN First Take, despite, what translated over there with First Take. Stephen A. Smith, the successor for Skip Bayless was Max Kellerman. That dynamic wasn't really a debate show. Maybe there was some hostility, some animosity between Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. A lot of people, including T.O., thought Max Kellerman was more blacker than Stephen A. Smith. I don't know how you can, I don't know how that's debatable. I feel like, Stephen A. Smith, I know Stephen A. Smith has his haters. Stephen A. Smith has his, people that really critique him. They call him Stephen A. Snitch. They call him the C word. But to go that far to say Max Kellerman is more blacker than Stephen A. Smith was kind of ridiculous. It kind of, put Stephen A. It really hurt the dynamic between Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. Stephen A. Smith said on a recent podcast as far as Max Kellerman continuing to do the show with Stephen A. Smith at First Take, Stephen A. Smith went to the bosses to say he did not feel like this is a good fit. There was no chemistry between him and Max Kellerman. And then Max Kellerman was shown the door, well, really shown to Keyshawn Johnson. The ship be sinking over there with Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams. Max Kellerman went aboard on that morning show, and the ratings wasn't all that great with that tandem over there. Plus, they promised Max Kellerman an afternoon show. This just in, it just didn't work out for Max Kellerman, and Max Kellerman was one of the casualties of layoffs. Him as well as several other personalities over that Worldwide Leader of Sports was given a pink note, and now everyone has gone on to do other things, working at other networks and just simply just going independent. All right. So through all that, ESPN First Take was still beating Undisputed in the ratings, and that's when Undisputed had his best cast. When you talk about Skip Bayless, the guy you love to hate, he had his audience, as well as Shannon Sharpe, the more popular one of the two, the more successful. I wouldn't say more successful, but definitely more popular. And even with Shannon Sharpe there, they could not. It was no competition to ESPN, despite ESPN going through their transitional phase with Max Kellerman. Even though First Take, a lot of people were still hating on Molly, and it was, and Stephen A. Smith as well. Despite all that, ESPN First Take just beat, just thumped Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. But Undisputed went through their turmoil. It just seemed like Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless did not see eye to eye on a lot of things, which led to a lot of heated arguments on the show. And when you talk to Shannon Sharpe as well as Skip Bayless, they say, it wasn't like they were joined at the hip on and off the set. And they both described it. Shannon Sharpe just came in, went to his dressing room. Stephen A. Smith came in, went to his dressing room. They didn't really do a lot of rehearsing or a lot of dry runs like, Skip Bayless did with Stephen A. Smith. They would rehearse what the topics they was going to talk about on that particular show. And the chemistry with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless was highly successful on and off the set than it was with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. Now, Skip Bayless, he deserves his flowers. He the one, particularly over there at Fox Sports 1, Skip Bayless saw something in Shannon Sharpe that no one else saw over there. Fox Sports 1 originally wanted Skip Bayless to debate another person in the media field, someone that has worked in journalism. And Skip Bayless said, no, not so fast. I want Shannon Sharpe. I see a lot of potential in Shannon Sharpe. And the rest, they say, is history. But, Undisputed went through their turmoil, which Fox Sports 1, particularly last year, they were negotiating a contract with Shannon Sharpe, and it just did not work out from the outside looking in. And we all was under the rouge of, Shannon Sharpe leaving Fox Sports 1 because it was a contract dispute. Now come word that Fox Sports 1 was pretty much pushing Shannon Sharpe out the door. Shannon Sharpe did not, his, personality, we'll just use personality, not his attitude, but his personality did not fit with the higher ups. And if you look at it on a business sense, why are you going to max out Skip Bayless and max out Shannon Sharpe? And even if you would have kept them two, it did not guarantee long-term success for Undisputed to overtake and dethrone ESPN. When Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless were together, they had opportunities to dethrone First Take, but they were unsuccessful. ESPN, this is the second big wave of layoffs. When the tandem was made, Wonder Twin Powers activated, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. ESPN went through several layoffs. ESPN went through some not so favorable news for ESPN and First Take. The Max Kellerman situation was not good. They was going through a lot of stuff. They was losing subscribers left to right. And not only them, but other networks in satellite and cable. Because a lot of people were switching and pulling the cord from Cadillac, satellite and cable. I don't know why I had Cadillac on the mind, but anywho, at least I didn't say catalytic converter. All right, but nevertheless, ESPN went through a lot of turmoil when they, through the regime of Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, and neither one of them could get the majority of the viewership to watch them over there at Fox Sports 1. And ESPN continued to beat them in the ratings. ESPN continued to have growth as far as the ratings and things of that nature. Despite, all these setbacks, ESPN remained the king of debate shows when you compare it to Undisputed. And, Shannon Sharpe exit stage left. Like I said, we all thought that, it was more to do with business, with a contract dispute. Maybe Fox Sports 1 said that was too rich for their blood. They just signed Skip Bayless to another big boy contract. And they probably thought that, even if we max out Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe, that does not guarantee us to take over the ratings when you, look at their competition. And like I always say, competition is good, but competition was not good between the two shows. ESPN First Take continued to be very successful and having higher ratings than Fox Sports 1. All right. So we all thought on the outside looking in, it was it must have been the money. Must be the money. It had to have been about the money. It was a contract dispute. Later on, when Shannon Sharpe, became a free agent, when Shannon Sharpe ultimately made the decision to go to ESPN, now he's over there at ESPN on First Take, but like sort of on a part-time situation. He only does First Take Mondays and Tuesdays. He still has his YouTube channel. He still has Club Shay Shay, which, by the way, Club Shay Shay is sponsored by The Volume. That's Colin Hurd digital platform. So Club Shay Shay is going to be sponsored by The Volume. And he's also is going to do exclusive exclusive content for The Volume. Okay. As well as he introduced a new nighttime show. I don't know if this nighttime show is going to be prolonged through the National Basketball Association, but when you talk about the NFL, it's called Nightcap. Him as well as Ocho, they got Nightcap, and that's giving that's a lot of buzz. That's getting some success. And when you look at Shannon Sharpe, ever since he departed from Fox Sports 1, he's been more public about his split over there. A lot of people speculated that Skip Bayless was jealous of Shannon Sharpe, that Skip Bayless wanted Shannon Sharpe away from him, and this, that, and the third. And, we can, all the articles and the videos, everyone was talking about Skip Bayless was jealous of him, even though Shannon Sharpe sent his flowers to Skip Bayless when he left, saying that Skip Bayless was the only one at Fox Sports 1 believed him before anybody else. All right. So he showed a lot of love to Skip Bayless. But, for every day and every week went by, Stephen A. Smith got on his show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, and announced to the world that the powers that be over there at Fox Sports 1 just did not like Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was creating waves over there with a lot of the people over there at Fox Sports 1, the powers that be. It got kind of ugly between the two. And you know, uh, the powers that be felt like, thank you for the thumbs up. The powers that be thought that this was not going to work, and they did not want to renegotiate with Shannon Sharpe. And Shannon Sharpe was a free agent, and he went elsewhere. Now, this is coming from the mouth of Stephen A. Smith. You know, you have to take this information with a teaspoon of salt. Don't just go along with it and just say, well, Stephen A. Smith is right. Still to this day, Shannon Sharpe really has not talked about why he's no longer over there at Fox Sports One. He's been really talkative about the dynamic between him and Skip Bayless. And he pointed out, now changing um, he's pretty much changing his tone. When you talk about his working relationship with Skip Bayless, he's putting some more addeds to it. And basically, he feels that Skip Bayless disrespected him. And we all know which episode it was, when they were talking about Tom Brady. And Skip Bayless was under a lot of heat. Now I'm not condoning what Skip Bayless said. I'm not condoning what Skip Bayless did after that, and I'm not condoning what Shannon Sharpe ultimately said and what he ultimately did over there at Fox Sports One. But Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe, as well as other people in the media field, was on Skip Bayless' head top. That was a crazy year because all the arguments that he believed he was winning, he was losing. All right, the Cowboys, they were struggling. America's team, my team, your team, they were struggling. All right, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, holy, they were struggling. More so Tom Brady's performance. All right. So the two topics he would feel passionate about and feel that he won the majority of these arguments, he was losing. Not to mention the fact the Darrell Hamill situation about what he tweeted on social media. He got a lot of flack for that. And, they got into a heated debate. And basically, Skip Bayless said what everyone was thinking, but no one wasn't spewing it out. That he said Tom Brady was better in his position than Shannon Sharpe. Now I'm putting a little polish on it, but that irritated Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe felt that was a slight. Shannon Sharpe felt that he was was dissing him, and that tandem, it was on their relationship, just just frosted. In some reasons, I don't know if Fox Sports One let go of Shannon Sharpe or Shannon Sharpe let go of Fox Sports One, but it seemed like that was the best decision for Shannon Sharpe. And he felt like this relationship was not going to heal with him and Skip Bayless, particularly what Skip Bayless said. And Skip Bayless doubled down on it. And we know the quote, the infamous quote, put your glasses back on. Shannon Sharpe was befuddled. He was befuddled. I mean, that was the first time I ever saw Shannon Sharpe was unable to speak. Okay. He's a real loud, talkative guy. Not that particular episode, because he felt betrayed. He felt a little shame. He felt disrespectful. He felt disrespect from Skip Bayless. And that's where the relationship softened and icened. And even though they said the right things on with the media and things of that nature, there was no coming back from that. All right. So Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe, some people feel like it was a contract dispute why he's not over there at Fox Sports One. Other people feel like Shannon Sharpe got fired because, Shannon Sharpe really didn't have a relationship with these new higher ups. All right. Even the old regime that hired Skip Bayless, the old regime that was talked into hiring Shannon Sharpe, they're no longer there. So this new regime, they feel like Skip Bayless is the golden child, despite Shannon Sharpe's popularity. They still felt like they would be nothing without Skip Bayless, and that's why they renegotiated once again for Skip Bayless. All right, now, despite what people think, if you want to say Shannon Sharpe was more popular than Skip Bayless, I truly echo those sentiments. However, if we're not the ones giving Shannon Sharpe a contract. It doesn't matter how popular Shannon Sharpe was outside the building of Fox Sports 1. The powers that be, he was not popular with them. And that's why, despite if it was a contract dispute or he got fired or he didn't have a great relationship with the higher up, doesn't matter the reasoning. He's no longer there at Fox Sports 1. Or if you want to use the reason of Skip Bayless went to the higher up and said he no longer wants to work with Shannon Sharpe. However y'all want to, whatever excuse you want to use, still at the end of the day, he's no longer at Fox Sports 1 for all those reasons, or maybe for one of those reasons. All right. So he went to ESPN. Now, here's where we get into today's topic. Even though I spent like 20 minutes giving you guys the dealio on the past of Shannon Sharpe, let's move forward to the present and possibly the future of Shannon Sharpe. All right. So Shannon Sharpe went to ESPN. ESPN got their highest ratings when they introduced Shannon Sharpe. I don't understand why this was surprising to a lot of people, but when the announcement was made that Shannon Sharpe was going to be working, he's going to go to ESPN, we all assumed that, oh man, he's going to be at First Take. First Take 5 days a week, possibly, or make an appearance on First Take. He's going to have his own show along with Pat McAfee. Could you imagine that lineup? Okay. You got Shannon Sharpe, and then Shannon Sharpe rearing his head in First Take on certain days. And you got Stephen A. Smith First Take, and then you got Pat McAfee. You got three dynamic personalities, and they're going to dethrone and take over the ratings, and everything that isn't no more. Okay. Fox Sports 1 the struggle was going to be real with Fox Sports 1. If they would have given Shannon Sharpe his own show, Stephen A. Smith continues to stay at First Take, and Pat McAfee. We all thought that this was a three-headed monster, that no matter what type of show Fox Sports 1 was going to have on their docket, it was not going to compete with those three personalities. That's what we all assumed. We also all assumed it was going to be a huge mega bidding war for Shannon Sharpe. Okay, Shannon Sharpe is he's this popularity of Shannon Sharpe, particularly on social media. People adore Shannon Sharpe more when you compare him to Skip Bayless. Everyone just thought that, man, look at all of the networks and all of the companies that's going to be lined up around the building twice for the services of Shannon Sharpe. We all knew that ESPN was going to be in the mix. Apple may have been in the mix. Spotify was going to definitely be in the mix. Amazon was going to be in the mix. Networks outside looking in, wheels all possibilities. Viacom was probably going to be in the mix for Shannon Sharpe, either on VH1 or BET, whatever. All right. You had the possibility of CNN maybe getting Shannon Sharpe, purging Shannon Sharpe away from Fox Sports 1. You had all of these networks on satellite and cable TV that we was all assuming he was going to go to. We had these big streaming services like Apple, Amazon, maybe HBO Max, Netflix. The possibilities could go on the possibilities of Shannon Sharpe going there. You had the FanDuel. Everyone thought that FanDuel, it was really between ESPN and FanDuel. Do anyone remember all of that, of those announcements, and we all thought that he was going to be the highest demanding free agent, the possibility of him working with LeBron James. LeBron James is starting, he was, in the works of, he was in talks of having his own network. You know, he's a LeBron James fan. LeBron James liked Shannon Sharpe. We all just assumed that he was going to be on LeBron James network or digital platform or whatever, or maybe go solo dolo and just go independent and just do YouTube full time. Shannon Sharpe, he used to do Twitch. He could probably go back to Twitch and sign a mega deal with Twitch over there. Okay, he used to do Twitch before Undisputed. Why not? The possibilities were limited. Okay, limitless. All right. And then ultimately, news got out that Shannon Sharpe said, you know what? All that sounds gravy. All that sounds like I'm going to be the bag. Forget chasing the bag. I am the bag. Okay. And then the decision came out that Shannon Sharpe he's going to be at ESPN, but on a part-time basis, not as far as having his own show or his podcast going on ESPN podcasts. Shannon Sharpe is going to do ESPN 2 days a week. Then he also talked about his partnership with Colin Cowherd. Shay Shay Media is going to be affiliated with The Volume. Club Shay Shay, the podcast, is going to be sponsored by The Volume. We all heard that. And then later on, like a couple of weeks ago, the announcement, the start of the football season, he told us that he's got a new show called Nightcap. It's going to be on his YouTube channel. Ocho was going to, I don't know why I say Ocho was going to be a co-host to that. And that's pretty much it. Now, what he ultimately settled for and what everyone was talking about before he made his decision are light years apart. All right. I'm not saying that what he ultimately chose was a bad look for Shannon Sharpe, but I will say the possibilities that people were talking about, that Shannon Sharpe was this high demanding, popular free agent that everybody was going to pounce on, that did not pan out. Okay. So ESPN got him on a part-time level. So now he's at ESPN. He premiered on First Take. The first week of First Take, I thought that Shannon Sharpe was witty. He was very entertaining, very informal, but you can tell that he was nervous. He was, running his words together. He called Stephen A. Smith Skip not once, but twice. But even besides all the mistakes and besides all of people, talking about Shannon Sharpe first day, at the end of the day, people look at, okay, was he a success that first week? And the answer is yes, a huge success. First Take, had extremely high ratings. Okay, nobody was beating First Take. Well, nobody wasn't beating First Take even before Shannon Sharpe, but the ratings were at the apex, the highest. All right. Meanwhile, when you look at Undisputed, it came a week early, and they introduced Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, and you had Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was more the narrative, was the moderator of Undisputed. You had all of those talking heads on the first show. I thought it was a decent show. However, all of them together, they was doing trial and error that first week to see what worked, what don't work. And ultimately they chose, he'll have them all together on Monday, but then spread them out during the week. Rachel Nichols was hired by Fox Sports 1 to help out Undisputed. Oh my God, I forgot the lady that works at CBS Sports, the black lady. I keep forgetting her name all the time. She made an appearance on Undisputed, about the NFL. I forgot her name. I do apologize, ma'am. I apologize. But um, despite all that, um, the first week ratings came a week later, and it comes to find out that I don't know why this was a huge announcement to everyone. It seems like all the content creators on YouTube. I'm not going to say his name because when I said his name, now I'm no longer able to message. Particularly when he has topics or live streams, he done muted my messages, or I'm unable to message. But that's all good. It's all gravy. There's no disrespect. I'll just saying it like it is. He might what I don't know. He probably was in his feelings, or he may be misinterpreted. I don't care. We're just gonna move on. I'm just not gonna say his name. But anyway, the first, he was befuddled. He was befuddled, shocked, puzzled, and confused that ESPN had in their first weeks ratings were higher than Undisputed. Okay, even though ESPN is in more households than Fox Sports One. I said that 7 years and running when they even had Shannon Sharpe over there at Fox Sports One. Remember, everyone was champion. Oh, when 7 years ago, when Undisputed came into the scene, everyone said this was going to be the first take killer. Uh, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. This is going to be a match made in heaven. Do everyone remember that 7 years ago that they was going to take over the ratings? And ESPN First Take is going to be off. It's going to be off television and YouTube. They're going to have to cancel the show. Remember all that noise everybody was talking about? I'm going to start saying some names right now. The Ticket TVs of the world, the Casino for Life of the world. Remember all of these guys, going on their live streams and videos 7 years ago talking about how Undisputed was going to dethrone First Take, and First Take was going to be canceled, and Stephen A. Smith was going to lose his job. Remember all that noise people were talking about 7 years ago? Okay, what has changed? Nothing. All right, still to this day, Undisputed, with or without Shannon Sharpe, is the second best show when you compare it to First Take. Okay, there's no competition with First Take and Undisputed, but I digress. Anywho, okay, so everyone was shocked that I don't know why everybody was shocked that ESPN destroyed First Take. Destroyed Undisputed. Now, like I said, ESPN is in more households than Fox Sports One. ESPN is in more markets than Fox Sports One. Don't know why everyone thought that all of a sudden it's Undisputed had a fighting chance. Plus, a lot of turmoil, a lot of turnover over there at Undisputed that they're going to have to. It's going to take time for them to get back to their regular scheduling, to their regular scheduled programming. Okay, they just lost Skip Bayless. Excuse me, Shannon Sharpe. All right. A lot of those viewers went to Undisputed because they liked Shannon Sharpe. And when Shannon Sharpe left Undisputed and went to First Take, guess where all his fans, guess where all his viewers went? They went with Shannon Sharpe. So they between the two shows, Undisputed had the biggest um setbacks than First Take. First Take was just adding, all right? They was adding on the foundation, okay? They already have a solid house on top of the hill. House, mansion. They already got a solid mansion on top of the hill. They just added a room in the mansion, which is Shannon Sharpe, all right? So when you look at Fox Sports One, they're trying to find their ways. They had a lot of additions, but none of those additions were going to equal one Shannon Sharpe. Okay. And let's count the ways. All right. They still got Skip Bayless under contract. They recently picked up Keyshawn Johnson. And I told you guys when we found out that Keyshawn Johnson was going to be signed by Fox Sports 1, I was the first one telling everybody. I think that was a good hire. However, I don't think that's the big splash hire that everyone thought that it could be. I told you Keyshawn Johnson, he's not that, Keyshawn Johnson don't really go left. He sort of stays in the middle. He speaks for the athletes. He's not going to disrespect the athletes. He speaks for the athletes more so than the ownership. Okay. Richard Sherman. I think Richard Sherman, there's going to be some topics where Richard Sherman may go left, like the recent comments he made about the Denver Nuggets. But, that didn't make him look good. It made him look kind of stupid, okay, and foolish. But he too, speaks for the athletes. He's not going to talk bad about the athletes, no matter how he's going to pretty it up when particularly their performances and things of that nature. And then when you got Michael Irvin, you have to understand Michael Irvin's mindset, and you have to understand Michael Irvin's position at that particular time. Michael Irvin was let go by ESPN because some weirdo woman said some false accusations about Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin lost his gig over there at First Take, ESPN. ESPN took the banana in the tailpipe situation, and they believed it. They let go of Michael Irvin. All right. And even though even the NFL Network was in Michael Irvin's corner, but low key the NFL Network was waiting for some more evidence before they made their decision. Now, if Michael Irvin was the aggressor and evidence comes out to support that fact, not only he would have lost his job at ESPN, he would have lost his job at the NFL Network, and he would just been out of sports media. Okay, but Michael Irvin was the victim. But I think ESPN jumped the gun on that decision, and maybe they jumped the gun on that decision because of some fact they knew that they were recruiting Shannon Sharpe. And Shannon Sharpe is when you compare Michael Irvin and Shannon Sharpe, there's really no comparison. Okay. And let's just face facts. Shannon Sharpe is a bigger star than Michael Irvin. But you have to understand Michael Irvin's mindset and his position. So he couldn't really go all in. But Michael Irvin is sort of a middleman himself. He sort of walks the line. He's pro athlete. He's also pro a lot of owners. He's got a lot of love for Jerry Jones. Still, those three guys there, Michael Irvin is a huge Dallas Cowboys supporter. He's not going to say anything bad about Dallas Cowboys, no matter if the Dallas Cowboys does do something wrong. Michael Irvin's going to pretty it up, okay? Same thing goes for Skip Bayless until he gets frustrated. And when you got Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson, they're not like Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is very entertaining. He's very funny, and people like Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is a likable person to the viewerships. Not to say that Richard Sherman isn't, not to say Keyshawn Johnson isn't, but Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman, they're not on that level yet. So those decisions right there, they're solid decisions, but it wasn't, none of those decisions said, okay, people are going to say, Shannon Sharpe who? Now, I said when we found out that Richard Sherman was going to be the new host over at Undisputed, before they made all these other announcements, I said that's a solid decision. I said, as far as the X's and O's and the Jerry's and the Joes, he's pretty much borderline with Shannon Sharpe. But I even said when it comes to being more funnier than Shannon Sharpe, being more entertaining than Shannon Sharpe, the struggle is going to be real for Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman was not going to fill those shoes as being funny and being entertaining and being more popular. All right. But I felt like it was a good hire. It was a solid hire. If you just look at it from the standpoint of, yeah, he knows his X's and O's. He's got hardware on his fingers, and he knows the Jerry's and Joes, okay, particularly the National Football League. But Richard Sherman, I feel like with Shannon Sharpe is also great with the NBA. I'm not really sure about Richard Sherman. I'm gonna say Richard Sherman isn't very knowledgeable of the inner workings of the NBA. Plus, Shannon Sharpe was great with boxing, great with MMA. I'm not sure that Richard Sherman is very knowledgeable in boxing and MMA. I'm just he may know, or he may Floyd Mayweather. He may know some of the popular names in those fields, but I don't know if he knows the mechanisms inside boxing and the sweet science of boxing as well as MMA, like Shannon Sharpe was. So you got some strengths of Richard Sherman, but you got a lot of weaknesses, particularly when you compare him to Shannon Sharpe. Let's just go ahead and just call it like it is. Call a spade a spade. All right. But if you look at the hirings of Undisputed, they were solid hirings. Even Rachel Nichols, that was a solid hire. I even told you guys how they was going to utilize Rachel Nichols, and thus far, it's pretty much been somewhat on point on my decision of them hiring Rachel Nichols. Plus, Rachel Nichols, she does NBA. She's more their NBA analyst, and I also see Rachel Nichols when football season is over with. Well, when the start of the NBA season starts, you're going to see this cash change. I think Richard Sherman will probably be there, but I don't necessarily believe Michael Irvin is he'll be in certain segments, but when the NBA starts, I feel like Rachel Nichols is going to be on that main crew. And I also feel like Jalen Rose, there's a possibility that Fox Sports 1 would sign Jalen Rose to debate Skip Bayless, particularly when the NBA starts its season. Okay. And they'll probably have one more NBA insider, make it a 3-man group, and still have Richard Sherman. And occasionally you'll see Keyshawn Johnson, and occasionally you see Michael Irvin. When the NFL has their Thursday night games, and Friday when the up and coming Sunday games are for the next week. Okay, but other than that, I feel like the hires that they got right now are solid hires. All right, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. I still think they're one person away, particularly when football season starts next year, to get their legs back. Or they can just keep this tandem and, maybe with a lot of time, with a lot of polish, them all, being on page. I still think they need someone in there that that's going to be popular. Either the viewership hates them or the viewership likes them. I think they're just like one person away for the viewers to come back. Now the viewers hasn't totally abandoned Undisputed, but you can clearly tell there was no surprise there. There was no surprise to me that First Take was going to be as far as rating wise more successful than Undisputed. But moving on, when you look over there at ESPN, like that first week, we talked about momentarily, Shannon Sharpe, stumbled on a lot of his words. He was, he called Stephen A. Smith Skip not once, but twice. He was a little nervous, he's with when you look at the viewership, there are more viewers on ESPN than they are at Undisputed. There was more eyeballs, and he knew that. He saw the pressure. He felt the pressure. But like a trooper, he stood there and took the blows. All right. Now, the rest they say is sort of history. I mean, they're doing great numbers over there. I feel like the chemistry between Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith is great. It's a lot better than Max Kellerman. And when you look at First Take, particularly on Mondays and Tuesday, he's the perfect debate partner for Stephen A. Smith. Now Stephen A. Smith has transitioned some. Stephen A. Smith is sort of in the mode of Skip Bayless. All right. He's the old head. You got Shannon Sharpe. Both of these guys are old in the first place, but Shannon Sharpe younger than Stephen A. Smith. When you look at Shannon Sharpe, he's the golden child. He's the popular one. He's the famous one. Everyone likes Shannon Sharpe. So you can, on that level, you can get ratings off of who is right, who is wrong, who is likable, who is not likable, who is popular, who is not popular, who had the best take, who won the debate. So you're gonna have that dynamic. All right. So I now I noticed this. The first week went 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 great, but you can also tell in the first week, Shannon Sharpe was utilizing the same tactics he did at Fox Sports One, trying to build relationships uh within First Take walls, trying to build a relationship with the editing room, the research room, trying to pump them up while he was live on air, trying to build a friendship with Molly so Molly could be on his side on a lot of topics. You saw that in a couple of shows. He would ham it up with Molly, but everyone staying firm to their positions. Molly, was neutral between Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, but I feel like Molly is more of a Stephen A. Smith type of guy. She's gonna always have Stephen A. Smith's back. And when you look at the editing room and the research room, they're gonna be more for Stephen A. Smith because they know Stephen A. Smith is the executive producer. Plus, they have a great working relationship and working history with Stephen A. Smith. But you can tell Shannon Sharpe was trying to pull a lot of people that are Stephen A. Smith supporters to his side. All right, you can clearly tell in the first couple of shows on that first week. As the weeks went on, you started to also notice Stephen A. He would attack Stephen A. Smith with a lot of issues with no prevail. The one thing Stephen A. Smith has that Skip Bayless didn't have. Stephen A. Smith is relentless. If Stephen A. Smith can win an argument by going at your jugular, he will. Okay, and Stephen A. Smith stands his ground. All right, so he's not gonna fall back every time Shannon Sharpe pushes up on him. He's gonna push up with Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe knew quickly that what he used to do with Skip Bayless, he's unable to do with Stephen A. Smith. So he's not even using that strategy no more. He also found out that Molly isn't, as much as he hams up with Molly, Molly is neutral. She tries to stay neutral, but everyone knows that she's a supporter of Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. Smith is a supporter of Molly because uh, during the years over the working for ESPN, a lot of people wanted Molly exit stage left from First Take, and Stephen A. Smith was the first person that said no, Molly isn't going nowhere. Molly is joint to the hip with Stephen A. Smith, and Molly, is very loyal to the soil with Stephen A. Smith. So Shannon Sharpe tried, and he failed on both of those levels. Also by him only doing the show Mondays and Tuesdays, sometimes when they're on remote, he'll do the Friday show, but he doesn't have a lot of time to build relationships with the editing room, with the studio, with the research department, because he basically only there 2 days a week. Okay, so that dynamic is not working. So now the tactic, what Shannon Sharpe is doing now, is going after Molly. You know, let's just face facts and face reality. You know, Shannon Sharpe is like a predator, and all predators. And when I mean predator, not like a woman predator or child predator, like a lion or a tiger, it's going to go after the weakest prey. And when you look around the room, He's not going to have enough time to go after the studio. He's not going to have enough time to go after the research department. He's not going to go after the editing room. He's definitely not going to go face to face with Stephen A. Smith. He tried a couple of times and failed miserably. So what's left on the docket? Well, of course, it's Molly. Molly is the weakest link. So now he's going after Molly. Now, they done had a couple spats along the way over there at First Take. He called Molly cheap on one show. I think it was last week. He also talked about how Molly is just talking through topics and she doesn't know what she's talking about. He's pretty much said publicly and live in effect on First Take that Molly, doesn't really understand what she's talking about. Now they got into it about the New York Giants and the quarterback over there. And Shannon Sharpe believes that the head coach is going to be gone, and the reason why the head coach is going to get fired because of the performance of that quarterback over there. And Molly thinks otherwise, and that's what sparked this little friction between him and Molly. Now, if you're not paying attention, people are going to just assume, well, Molly don't need to be in there anyway. You're going to have the detractors out there. Well, Molly don't want to be there. Molly don't need to be there anyway. I didn't like Molly from the get-go. I think Molly should have been gone, exit stage left immediately out of there, okay? I've been saying that for years. Molly sucks, okay? She just need to be a moderator. She just need to shut up, present the topics, and just move to the side and let the debaters debate. Molly talks too darn much, okay? You're going to have all those detractors that say that, and they're going to gravitate to that. But if you're not paying attention, and you got to look at the context of a lot of these situations. And I pointed one thing out last week where Shannon Sharpe alarm went off on his iPhone. And a lot of people were not paying attention to the small details. And I eloquently explained why this is important. Still, you have people in the comment section going, Chris, that don't make no sense. Just because his alarm went off, it don't mean nothing. You are tripping. You're tripping. All right. A lot of people were not paying attention. All right. It's just the small little details you need to pay attention to. Why does he even have an alarm on in the first place? All right. I told you that I feel like Stephen A. Smith and the powers that and Stephen A. Smith got a lot of pull with the powers that be over there at ESPN First Take. Was basically complaining that Shannon Sharpe be hogging up all the time. Okay, dang. By the time Shannon Sharpe gets through talking, they're going on their second commercial. He didn't even have time to debate Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe talks too much. Now, a lot of people, once again, if you're not paying attention, this is a great strategy that Shannon Sharpe used with Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharpe would take over the conversation, and he would take over by continuously talking. And when Skip Bayless would try to interject or begin his debate, Shannon Sharpe would, step in and start and still keep talking and not allowing Skip Bayless to get a good flow. Okay. This is a patent successful strategy for Shannon Sharpe. The more I talk and the less the person I'm debating gets the opportunity to talk, I'm going to be proven the champion of the argument because I had more to say about the argument. All right. So he tried that with Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith picked that up real fast, real quick. And there's probably parameters where he gets equal time, just like Shannon Sharpe. And have y'all also noticed he doesn't interject a lot. He hardly even interjects and allows Stephen A. Smith to he allows Stephen A. Smith to present his argument. He doesn't interrupt him. like he used to do with Skip Bayless. Okay. So if you're not paying attention to the small details, you're going to get lost in the sauce. All right. So I've been noticing little things when I'm watching ESPN, and those little things are adding up. And that's why I say, is there trouble in paradise over there? Maybe Molly is not feeling Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe personality can be sometimes, hectic and be sometimes stressful and demanding on you because Shannon Sharpe personality fills the room. And Shannon Sharpe also likes to control narratives and arguments. He also likes to build relationships for his benefit, particularly with these arguments. Shannon Sharpe is very competitive, and he will pull no stops to win a lot of these arguments. Because if he wins the majority of these arguments, people are going to say, "Oh, he's the star. He's so popular. He's so likable." Plus, Shannon Sharpe does a little comedy. He's very entertaining. He's very knowledgeable about what he's talking about, and it gotten so when he started talking about Molly, uh, it put Stephen A. Smith in a bad position. And once again, if you're not paying attention to the small details, you're going to get lost in the sauce. Now, Stephen A. Smith is chiming in and basically confirming that, maybe Shannon Sharpe is right about Molly. Okay. And I'm telling you why Stephen A. Smith is doing that right now. And it's much of a ploy to, as far as the show itself, for people to continue to watch the show. Stephen A. Smith is an entertainer too, and Stephen A. Smith says a lot of things he does not believe. But the reason why he say these things, because it's the things that people are thinking about and talking about on social media, and people just wait for the day for Stephen A. Smith to confirm what everybody is talking about. All right. So Stephen A. Smith is placating to the haters of Molly. And two, Stephen A. Smith doesn't want to flat out say, Shannon Sharpe, you got to show that girl, you got to show Molly some respect, put some respect on her name. She has just as much right to entitled to her opinion and yada, yada, yada. He could go that way, but it will also, when you look at it strategy wise, is not the best strategy as of right now. All right. Because he needs Shannon Sharpe as far as his contract negotiations. Stephen A. Smith's contract ends in 2 years. And Stephen A. Smith is a very highly intelligent human being, and he knows with these recent announcements and signings, this can really put Stephen A. Smith on the outside looking in. Allow your boy to explain. All right. So Stephen A. Smith contract ends in 2 years, and he's checking out the temperature in the room. They just signed Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is doing numbers. Okay. Pat McAfee is doing numbers. He's really fulfilling uh, ESPN as far as ratings. ESPN signed him to a huge contract. And with this small sample size, he has already fulfilled his contract. All right. So Pat McAfee is bringing ESPN newfound success in their ratings and things of that nature, plus a new direction ESPN is moving forward. All right. And then you got Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was just hired by ESPN. Even though he's on contract to do First Take for 2 days, this is more so a trial contract. It would not surprise me none if ESPN, after 1 year, tear this contract up and redo a bigger contract with Shannon Sharpe with better perks and more money down the road. It would not surprise me if ESPN goes this way. So you got Shannon Sharpe making ESPN popular, the ratings and things of that nature. You also got Pat McAfee. ESPN is in the catbird seat once again. How this affects Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith, before these two signings, he was the golden child. He was the savior of ESPN. Remember, remember what people would say. Stephen A. Smith just lives in ESPN. ESPN would market Stephen A. Smith around their brand. He was everywhere. He was at all of the live, most of the popular live events. You would see him you would hear him on the radio. You would see him on other programming of ESPN, even his own show. They featured Stephen A. Smith as the star of ESPN. Now with these two recent signings, ESPN, he's no longer ESPN golden child. He's no longer ESPN star. ESPN has two new stars, Shannon Sharpe and Pat McAfee. All right. And they're so big that they even have a segment where Shannon Sharpe, Pat McAfee, and Stephen A. Smith are in this segment, and they're trying to make this segment work. All right. When I mean they, I mean the hires up over there at ESPN. Now, Stephen A. Smith is smart enough to know that even though he has an alliance with Pat McAfee isn't going up against the powers that be, because they gave him his money. They gave him his opportunity. All right. So why would Pat McAfee help Stephen A. Smith? Because it serves no purpose for Pat McAfee to help Stephen A. Smith. All right. So Stephen A. Smith has to turn to somebody. Molly, even though she's attractive, she's beautiful, she's the moderator, she's not the higher ups. They look at it as, we can find us another Molly. We can find us another moderator. All right. If Molly wants to leave ESPN, we're not going to seriously fight to keep Molly. Now we'll offer her a contract, but we're not gonna negotiate to the highest bidder. Molly is great, but she ain't all that. She's not a Coke in a bag of chips, if you understand what I'm saying. So where else can Stephen A. Smith form an alliance? Oh, wait a minute. Shannon Sharpe. He can form an alliance with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is, competing for a bigger contract for ESPN. Right now, he's on this temporary contract. He's doing ESPN 2 days, maybe some remotes, but Shannon Sharpe is proven to be a rising star for ESPN. Now, there is an article that's floating around that suggests, allegedly, okay, let's use the word allegedly, because we all say it at one time, okay? 3, 2, 1, allegedly, that Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith are forming an alliance to help Stephen A. Smith get a bigger contract at ESPN. By them two forming an alliance, they're joined at the hips, and they're going like, whoa, wait a minute. I want Stephen A. Smith to get his bread in the next 2 years. I want y'all to give him a massive contract, ESPN. And by the way, if you want to have me full time, and this is Stephen A. Smith saying this, I want you to help out my boy, my man, Shannon Sharpe, and he should get a max contract. All right. And those two guys are forming an alliance against ESPN, saying like, if both of us don't get a max contract, there's a possibility you can lose both of us. All right. When our contracts are up. All right. Because Shannon Sharpe can say, okay, cool. It didn't work out at ESPN. It's all fine and dandy. I still got the volume. I still got a partnership with Colin Cowherd over there at the volume. I'm still making my own content on my YouTube channel. I really, 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 really don't need you, ESPN. That's from the perspective of Shannon Sharpe. Stephen A. Smith saying, okay, I just got me a YouTube channel. Really, I can just go full rogue and just go independent. And I already got relationships with NBC. I got relationships with ABC as far as the soap world goes, and the Chew, and I don't think Chew is on network anymore. But the one with Whoopi Goldberg in it, the talk, or whatever you call that, I forgot the name of that daytime show on ABC. I also been on CNN, Fox Sports One. I mean, Fox News. They may want me to on a segment or two. I can still be on television, okay. And since I done hired an agent that has connections in Hollywood, what I really, really, really want is a nighttime show. All right. Look at nighttime television. Okay, look at what NBC is doing with their nighttime television. CBS, on a small level, ABC. All right, I can see myself doing nighttime television. Okay, not to mention I see myself as an actor. All right, I done the soaps. Okay, I've been on a couple of movies. All right, I'm good. I'm good like good food. All right, so when you got other avenues you can go to, you can pretty much dictate your future, and that's what Stephen A. Smith is doing. And by forming this alliance with Shannon Sharpe, this could be proven very beneficial for Shannon Sharpe as well as Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith can get his contract and continue to work at the worldwide leader of sports. Shannon Sharpe can get his contract ripped up and get a better contract with ESPN, which means he gets better perks like his own show at ESPN. Well, you maybe have a radio show at ESPN Radio, satellite radio, as well as some having content exclusively for ESPN Plus. Have a mega contract, and once again, he's getting that bag. Okay, now with all the recent decisions as of right now for Shannon Sharpe, I don't think it's a big bag decision, but I think the reason why he did these decisions because of flexibility. He also has his own independence and he has his own freedom. It's more beneficial. It's more beneficial from that perspective, then he's making a lot of money by doing these smaller jobs. All right. So as of right now, it's beneficial for his freedom and his independence, but he wouldn't mind being tied down to a huge mega contract with ESPN and also doing his own show. So, Shannon Sharpe is trying to form alliances at ESPN. Now, Shannon Sharpe was trying to form alliances at Fox Sports One. Like, if it didn't work out with him over there at Undisputed, if he had good alliances and good connections with the powers that be at Fox Sports One, maybe they would just let him do his own thing, let him have his own show. Okay, let Skip Bayless do Undisputed on his own, but it just did not work out that way because he didn't have necessarily a great relationship with the powers that be at Fox Sports One. He's trying to have a great relationship with the powers that be at ESPN. ESPN, the powers that be over there, they like Shannon Sharpe. I mean, otherwise they would not sign Shannon Sharpe. So they're good. They're good like good food with Shannon Sharpe over there at ESPN. And there's a possibility that he can rip this contract up and do his own thing, do his own show and things of that nature. So that's what's going on. Is there trouble in paradise over there at First Take? I see cracks in the foundation. I see small cracks in the foundation, but I just don't see any rifts where Shannon Sharpe is going to be he's going to have issues with Stephen A. Smith and Molly or any. I think he's on his best behavior to get. He's really working for not this contract, but he's really working for the next contract over there at ESPN. We're gonna have to wait and see if this plays out very beneficial for Shannon Sharpe And we have to wait and see 2 years down the road by him forming an alliance with Shannon Sharpe, how this benefits Stephen A. Smith down the road when his contract is up 2 years. We're gonna have to wait and see. We got 2 years, folks. Count it down. 2 years. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. All right. First, I'd like to thank everyone that came in, that hit the like button. You guys are listening. I really do appreciate that. You can comment in the comment section. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just tell me something. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Okay, I'm a terrible singer. Okay, I'm a terrible singer. But comment in the comment section. Be sure to hit the subscription button. All right. And you can also hit me up on the Cash App $. I'm Chris Don One. Let's get into it. Super chats and super stickers. You can do that as well. All right. So let's get into the next order of business. Wow. I done spent like over an hour just talking about the first topic. Okay. Let's hope the second topic doesn't take me another hour. But anywho, a recent article, and let me go find this article that came on my timeline, and I said to myself, I gotta talk about this. I definitely have to talk about this. And I thought, this article was very interesting, and it's good news for Fox Sports 1. So let's get into it, shall we? Fox Sports 1 afternoon program continues to have success in the ratings. The Herd, First Things First, Speak, all reporting growth for the month of September 2023 within the Fox Studio lineup. Let's continue. The studio show on Fox Sports 1 continued to attend new levels of record viewership coming off their record-setting Super Bowl, which consistently the most watched television program in American history. And it averaged, we're not going to get into the numbers when it comes to the household. It's well over 100 million. All right. The daily studio lineup that is getting huge success in the ratings with and the scheduled adjustments, which the schedule changes happened almost 2 years to this date. Well, yeah, definitely 2 years to this date. First Thing First, which was a morning show, they moved it to the afternoon, and I covered this on my video when we first heard about this. They say with that change, they saw huge growth from First Things First, and that program is hosted by Kevin Wiles, Nick Wright, and Chris Broussard. I felt like that tandem was a great tandem. I still feel, and I said this when I made the video, I felt like First Things First should continue to be the morning show. Okay, now they done gave it to the Carson show, and we're going to be talking about that show a little bit later. But let's move on to the article. The afternoon show's attendance was the most watched month ever, and it went up to 113% year over year. Okay. And it's in the top 10. It's the most watched television air show of last month overall. And following First Things First is Speak. And Speak has featured Joy Taylor, LaShawn McCoy, and Emmanuel Acho. I also talked in that very same video about this. I wasn't too high on Speak. I thought with the name change and how they're going to moving forward, I thought it was okay. I didn't have concerns about it, but I did feel like between the Carson show and Speak, I just didn't think either of those shows, one of those shows was going to be on the chopping block. Okay, I did go that far with it. Okay, but I was wrong about Speak. Speak also had success with record-setting success when it comes to their ratings. It was the most watched show in September, and it went up to 77% year over year. It's the most watched month in general since 2020. Okay. The viewership of the program has steadily grown since the debut of the revamped show, with the data from the Nissan's Media Group. Okay. And it continues to show growth. Okay. Precedes both programs. Colin Cowherd, Jason McIntyre. I also talked about this and covered this on that very same video. When they moved Joy Taylor from the Herd Show, and she was a favorite at the Herd Show, and Jason McIntyre was still there at that time, but he wasn't full time. A lot of people felt like she didn't deserve to be a host on Speak. She just didn't do enough. And a lot of people were pointing out to her popularity on social media. She's just not a likable person on social media. She has takes that, a lot of people don't like, and she's got a lot of haters. Joy Taylor has a lot of haters. She got haters beyond haters. Now, other than her, she's very attractive, but she's incredibly knowledgeable. Okay. And let's go back into it. But the Herd Show has even gotten success, and it tied its most watched month ever, and it's up 39% year to year of year. Whoa! All right. Now, these figures account for the 10th consecutive month of year to year viewership growth, and it's showing that those shows are doing their thing. Now, they also talk about the Pat McAfee show. The Pat McAfee show is an ESPN show as well as a digital platform, and it had very successful high ratings. Okay, so let's get back to our regular scheduled program, already in progress. Okay, so you heard it. You heard it from the horse's mouth from that article that the Herd it done gotten record-setting growth. It had the same growth as last year. Speak has had growth. Okay, when you look at First Things First, them transitioning from a morning show to an afternoon show, they got success when it comes to the rating. All right. Even in that very same article, they talked about the Pat McAfee show. The Pat McAfee show is hitting it out the park. Okay. ESPN made a solid decision on having Pat McAfee on their ESPN platform. Okay. Talk about all that stuff, but you know what they didn't talk about? They didn't talk about Undisputed. Well, they didn't talk about First Take, but we all knew First Take was very successful in the ratings. Why not? But they didn't talk about Undisputed, and they didn't talk about the Carson show. Now, I had my doubts about the Carson show when it first premiered on the fall lineup 2 years ago. And if you paid attention to my video, you guys know that I wasn't highly impressed with the Carson show. This was the first show from the new regime. Okay, the new regime felt like since Carson was hugely popular on sports radio, they gave him his own show. Obviously, the powers that be, there's someone in that organization that's a huge fan of him. They listen to him on the radio while driving to Fox Sports 1. They say, hey, you know what? That guy, I like that guy. I think that guy deserves his own morning show at Fox Sports 1. He should be the very first show that introduces the rest of the shows. I thought the Carson show was a bad idea. I thought that was a bad decision of having the Carson show takes First Things First time slot. I think First Things First was growing. I saw the potential in First Things First. I still feel like First Things First should continue to be in the morning, and they should switch places. But if you listen to the article, it seems like that was the best thing for First Things First since sliced bread. is to move from the mornings to the afternoon. I still don't think the Carson Show is a better show than First Things First, and it would not surprise me none. Now they done made um some recent signings to get the ratings up for the Carson Show. The Carson Show is really not very popular. Not a lot of people talk about the Carson Show. Jacoby from Jalen and Jacoby, he was in that massive layoff at ESPN. He found him a new job on the Carson Show. We're gonna have to wait and see how by signing him and letting him join the Carson Show, how that works out for them over there. But I still think that the Carson Show, out of all the shows I just mentioned, I feel like, and I said this in my video 2 years ago, it would not surprise me none if the Carson Show ceased to exist in the next couple of years and they just move on to something else. I just don't think he's that good, okay, to be perfectly honest with you. He's good on AM radio, maybe FM radio, but I don't think he's good for satellite radio or his own show. But that's neither here nor there, all right? But if you look at the decisions they made 2 years ago with this new Fox Fall lineup, you saw extraordinary growth in all of those shows. And what all them shows have in common is they had a whole lot of uh, moving seats. Joy Taylor, she was with the Herd Show. Now she's with Speak. Jason McIntyre is now full time at the Herd Show. When you look at First Things First, they had to deal with a time slot issue. So they had a lot of stuff that they had some new mechanisms that they had to figure out along the way. And it took them a while, but they're back in their groove. They're getting huge success from their ratings. Now, and that goes into Undisputed. And I'm gonna tell you why Undisputed wasn't talked about in this article. Out of all those shows, Undisputed had the most turmoil than those other shows. Okay. When you look at the Herd Show, it wasn't really no issue that Joy Taylor left the Herd Show. It was really more so of a promotion for Joy Taylor. All right. Joy Taylor was a slash host slash moderator. And Joy Taylor showed growth and potential where, she can host her own show. So Speak, she got the opportunity of Speak. Now, Speak is still Colin Cowherd's show. I don't know if he's the executive producer, but he's got a lot of pull over there at Speak. It used to be Speak for Yourself. It had Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock on there. And now it's got Shady McCoy. It's got Joy Taylor, and it's got Emmanuel Acho. And now since Joy Taylor went over there, it's more like a promotion. So they didn't have to deal with too much turmoil. They just had to, give it time. Everyone, is this their first time ever those three guys work together? It used to be a 2-man group. It's now a 3-man group. And it's later in the afternoon. That's the only things they had to deal with last year. And now when you look at it, it's gotten success in their ratings. All right. So it didn't take them that long to get get their legs going. All right. And like I said, with the Herd Show, only issue, if you want to call it an issue, it's not really an issue that Joy Taylor went to she left the Herd Show. Jason McIntyre was already there. All right. So they didn't have to deal with a lot of distractions and turmoil and turnover or anything like that. They were good. All right. And when you look at First Things First, the only thing they really had to deal with is the time change. They're no longer a morning show. They're an afternoon show. A lot of their morning viewers, probably is unable to watch them since the time change, they can't watch it live, but they do watch the re-air of it if you're fans of First Things First. Also, if you look at the host on all these shows, they're solid from top to bottom. Okay. Let's start off with the Herd Show. You got Colin Cowherd, Jason McIntyre. That's a great tandem, a great 1-2 punch. Can't get any better than that. When you look at Speak, you got Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho, Shady McCoy. Now, if you want to say Shady McCoy is the weakest link, okay, fine. But if you look at that tandem, that's a solid tandem from top to bottom. All right. And then when you look at Speak for Yourself, and when you look at that tandem, you got Kevin Wiles, you got Chris Broussard, and you got Nick Wright. That's a great tandem itself. Plus, they have interchangeable guests on the show, depending on if it's football season, basketball season, whatever. All right. So, from top to bottom, when you look at all those shows, the hosts are great. Okay, good to great. All right. But when you look at Undisputed, they got way too much turmoil. They got way too much turnover, and they got some parts that they're trying to fit. Okay, and they're learning as they go. And let's just face facts and face reality. Undisputed, for one, is competing against First Take in their time slot. Okay, Colin Cowherd don't have to worry about First Take. Speak don't have to worry about First Take. First Things First don't have to worry about First Take. The two shows that really have to worry about what's going on at First Take is Undisputed and the second half of the Carson show. Okay, but they're competing with First Take in that time slot, and they got a lot of interchangeable parts that they're trying to, build chemistry and see what work, what don't work. Okay, through trial and error. And I just explained earlier in this presentation, I think they're solid choices, but I don't think they are a replacement for Shannon Sharpe. They got all those solid choices. Got a lot of shoes to fill with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was, if y'all want to say it, Shannon Sharpe was the star of Undisputed. He was the most popular one between the two over there at Undisputed. He was the most funniest one than the two. When I mean two, him and Skip Bayless. He was more entertaining than Skip Bayless. People watch Skip Bayless because they hate Skip Bayless and they hate his takes, and they just watching Skip Bayless so they can hear what comes out of his mouth. Okay, man, I can't wait to watch Undisputed because I want to hear Skip Bayless, say something stupid on the show or something that I don't like. Okay, that's the only reason why Skip Bayless, why the viewership watches Skip Bayless. Now, if you've been paying attention to this new Undisputed, Skip Bayless is taking a step back some. He's not fully animated. He doesn't really control the narratives or the arguments. He sort of goes along with it, and he's more like a moderator. He pretty much sets up the discussions between whoever they have at the table. He's not the main dinner no more. He's just the side vegetables. He goes along with the turkey. All right, he's not the turkey dinner. Okay, he's not the steak in the steak dinner. He's not the lasagna. He's more of an entree. All right. So, and I think he's taking a step back some, and I think in large portion, Skip Bayless took a lot of slack and a lot of heat because of Shannon Sharpe. A lot of people blame Skip Bayless for why Shannon Sharpe is not there. All right. And a lot of people are throwing arrows and throwing rocks at Skip Bayless about this departure. Okay. So I think that's really scared Skip Bayless from. I think that's one of the reasons. I think another reason is he's trying to see how these tandems can work together. He doesn't really have time to be Skip Bayless. He's pretty much managing on the fly, trying to figure out what works and what don't work. He likes everything with the signings. Don't get it twisted or confused. He likes Keyshawn Johnson. He likes the Keyshawn Johnson signing. He likes the Michael Irvin signing. He likes Richard Sherman signing, as well as Rachel Nichols. All right. But however, how all of this fits and as far as a show go. So he's pretty much orchestrating everything. He just doesn't have time to be skipped. But I think on another portion of it is he's scaling back some because of the ridicule he gotten with Shannon Sharpe no longer being there. Okay, so there you have it. So Undisputed is going through is going through a lot of stuff, more stuff than any other show on the Fox lineup, okay, in its history. Let's just face facts and face reality. First things first didn't have to go through nothing like that. Now, they did when they fired oh my God, I forgot his name, Chris Carter. When they fired Chris Carter, they got a lot of slack because of that. When they fired Chris Carter, a lot of people were not feeling Nick Wright. A lot of people had doubts about Nick Wright. Okay, but when you look at Fox Sports One said, "Hey, look, we're just gonna ride this until we get the right pieces around Nick Wright." And then Chris Broussard was always on First Things First. They made him a permanent member. And then, Kevin Wiles, and then the moderator, I forgot her name. She was on there for a minute. They recently let her go 2 years ago. Jenna Wolf. They let go of Jenna Wolf, and now it's a 3-man tandem. They don't have a moderator there, and they just debate the topics. But it took them a while to get their legs back and to get into the flow of things. That's why when I read that article, it took them a minute, but slowly but surely, First Things First is getting huge success in the ratings. But it took them a couple of years to get to that point. When you look at Speak was the reason why Speak had issues early on. At first, it was Speak for Yourself. It was like the afternoon version of Undisputed and First Take. It was way too opinionated, and it particularly with the topics. And when you look at Jason Whitlock was not popular by any stretch of the imagination. People wanted him to go from day one. And then Emmanuel Acho, a lot of people were throwing arrows at Emmanuel Acho. They said Emmanuel Acho speaks outside his ass, and he's not. When you look at that dynamic, let's just talk about it for a second. Jason Whitlock and Emmanuel Acho, the intellectuals of the two. There was too much, trying to be intellectuals than being entertaining. Jason Whitlock and Emmanuel Acho, they had their opinions. They had their debates, but as far as them being entertaining, neither one of them was very entertaining. Neither one of them was not that funny, and neither one of them wanted to be Robin. Both of them feel like they're Batmans, and when you have two Batmans, you have a mess. All right, so they got rid of Jason Whitlock. Okay. He ran out his contract, and they didn't renegotiate Jason Whitlock. So Jason Whitlock did his own thing as a content creator on YouTube. Okay, bye bye. Okay, say bye 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 bye. Okay, I'm full of instinct today, but anyway, so Jason Whitlock gone, and then they had Emmanuel Acho and Marcellus Wiley. Now Marcellus Wiley used to be on ESPN. And when his contract was up with ESPN, he chose greener pastures, I guess, and went to Fox Sports 1, and they will still Speak for Yourself. So you had Emmanuel Acho, and you had Marcellus Wiley. Now, I feel like of the two, Marcellus Wiley was the darling of the viewership. People were still were throwing their arrows at Emmanuel Acho. They felt like he was too. I don't know how you could be too intellectual, but being too intellectual, particularly when you're trying to entertain people on television, uh, can people just don't want to. People don't want to see a. People don't want to spend an hour like they're in a classroom. All right, if you get what I'm saying, people want to be entertained. All right, so uh, Marcellus Wiley, he was an intellectual, but he was kind of fun. He was kind of funny with it. All right. But still, the ratings were not there. And one of the criticisms of Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Acho, and Marcellus Wiley talked about it on his own YouTube channel. uh, the producers walked up to both of them and said, "Hey, is there any way y'all can just dumb this down?" Because there was like overthinking a lot of topics, and it just didn't translate well to their viewership. All right, so uh, they tried the mad scientist experiment. It did not work. Marcellus Wiley is exit stage left. He's doing his thing on YouTube, and then they said, no, this show needs a complete overhaul. Instead of calling it Speak for Yourself, because when we keep it Speak for Yourself, people still think that Marcellus Wiley is still in the building. People still think Jason Whitlock is still in the building. Let's just stop trying to reproduce magic like with First Take and Undisputed. Let's just make it primarily football. Okay. Emmanuel Acho used to play football in the National Football League. Let's make it a football show. And let's just shorten the name from Speak for Yourself to Speak. All right. So Emmanuel Acho is still there. I don't know for how long. All right. But Emmanuel Acho is still there. They have Shady McCoy and they have Joy Taylor. Now, this is a formula and a recipe that could be very beneficial and successful for Fox Sports 1. And after 2 years, it paid off. All right. Emmanuel Acho, he can still be in his corner and articulate and, be intellectual and try to overthink the room. He can still do that. But now we have two people that are not going to do that. They're going to do it a different way. Shady McCoy, he's very funny, he's very entertaining, and he dumbed things down for the audience. Joy Taylor, with her wild takes, is going to make viewers upset. It's going to make viewers say, she may have a point there. But what it's not going to make the viewers do is change the dial. Okay, not to mention the fact being attractive is an added. Okay, it's a positive. It's not a negative. Okay, Joy Taylor looks stunning. All right, let's not be tricked or fooled here. All right, so now with this Speak, you got two different hosts, a name change, and now they're seeing their success. All right, now let's go to Undisputed. Undisputed had the biggest overhaul. Okay, they just lost one of their biggest stars. And I said this in videos and live streams. This ish is not going to happen overnight. Okay, even the best have setbacks. Okay, when Joe Budden lost Rory and Maul, and Joe Budden was trying to piece together different people, he ultimately got Ice and Ish. He saw some success there. And then he said, you know what, let me even add more layers and more rooms to this. Let me get my homeboy, Queen's Flip, on the Joe Budden podcast and Melissa Ford. And the rest, they say, is history. Now Joe Budden is back at the driver's seat again. He has the most popular listening podcast in the world. Okay, everybody's gravitating to Joe Budden, but it took Joe Budden a couple of chances, like a mad scientist. He's in the laboratory trying to put this together, trying to put that together, trying to make the right chemical balance, and now he found the right chemical balance. So, one could assume with Skip Bayless, it's going to take a while. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. I like the recent decisions with Michael Irvin, Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman. Occasionally, Rachel Nichols comes and stops by with an NBA report, this, that, and the third. And I forgot the lady that does CBS Sports. I don't forgot her name. I had her name, then I forgot her name. I could quickly Google her, but okay, why go through all that? Okay, but nevertheless, he has to figure out the right balance. I think he's in the right position by having them all there on Monday, and then from Tuesday to Friday, you have, you shorten the list down. Maybe have Keyshawn Johnson on Tuesdays, maybe have Michael Irvin on Wednesday, maybe have Richard Sherman on Thursday, and I think Little Wayne makes an appearance on Undisputed. I think it's either Thursday or Friday. All right, I forgot about they added Little Wayne for a segment on Undisputed. Okay, and I think this is a 1-year deal. I don't think Little Wayne's going to do this next season. He's probably exclusively for Undisputed, and he has a real great relationship with Skip Bayless. He even did the theme music for Undisputed, so that dynamic, they have a great relationship. Anyway, yeah, he's going to do a segment with Undisputed. I think it's either Thursdays or Fridays, whatever. But it's going to take time for Skip Bayless to find his ways and get, and he's going, and eventually Undisputed is going to have success in the ratings. It just, he has to find the right balance. And who knows, he may not have the person that he's looking for with this group of people. And at the same time, this is football season. And maybe he starts, creeping back. And when basketball season starts, there's been a lot of talk that Jalen Rose may be on Undisputed. There's a lot of talk that Mark Jackson could possibly be. Well, no, Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson is with TNT. I'm not 100% sure. It's either Mark Jackson went to TNT or the guy who was the coach for the New York Knicks. I can't think of his name right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He was a tandem with Mark Jackson, and he got laid off at ESPN. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, post it in the comment section. But anywho, I think his first name is Joe. I'm not 100. Anyway, one of them two is working at TNT, or maybe both of them working at TNT. But at the same time, even if they both work at TNT, they can still also work for Undisputed. So it would not surprise me none if Mark Jackson is on the basketball coverage for Undisputed, and maybe those parts are going to be more entertaining than the football side of things. And I think Richard Sherman is still going to be doing Undisputed when basketball season starts. And maybe Keyshawn Johnson will probably do it as well. I feel like between the two, between Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman, I think Keyshawn Johnson is a little bit more knowledgeable about basketball than Richard Sherman. Now, Richard Sherman did step out there on a limb. He had his opinions about the Denver Nuggets. I don't co-sign to what Richard Sherman said, but at least Richard Sherman went out on a limb. And, that was the first out of the limb topic from Undisputed in quite some time now. All right. But nevertheless, it is what it is. And with this article, the afternoon show is showing a lot of growth and potential. And who knows, this might translate to Undisputed. Maybe Undisputed gets some finds its way and enjoys some success like their afternoon counterparts over there at Fox Sports 1. All right. But yeah, so guys, tell me what you think. Guys, Please hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this content with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you want to further support the channel, you can do super chats, super stickers. They will be posted in the live stream if you do that. Your comments will be posted in the live stream if you do that. And if you want to hit the Keys app, $ I'm Krista Don One. You heard me. It's right there on the screen for a few seconds. All right. So we got a lot of other things. I got some topics to cover real fast, real quick. Let me move this over here for a second, and let's talk about the topics we're going to talk about. I'm going to do some real fast, real quick topics that are trending on social media right now. Let's talk about my team, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. It seems like the Dallas Cowboys are trending on X. I still call it Twitter, but it's X now. The Dallas Cowboys are trending. Dak Prescott is trending. Skip Bayless is trending. Michael Parsons is trending. Let's go to what they're saying about Dak Prescott. Not a lot of people are happy with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. When Dak Prescott, when the Cowboys defense doesn't force 10 fumbles and get 5 pick six, boy is frozen. This ain't Dak Prescott was frozen like this senator. Man, these memes, man. All right, Skip Bayless is chiming in. He's got his Dak Prescott jersey, and he's getting ready to throw it in the trash like always. He's got his Michael Parsons jersey, and wait a minute, hold up. He's thinking about it. He's keeping Michael Parsons jersey, but he threw away Dak Prescott jersey. That's it. I'm done with Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones should what? Let's check out Skip Bayless's tweet. Okay. Now, 8 hours ago, these are Skip Bayless's tweets. The truth is, I feel like I'm going to vomit. Damn. 8 hours ago. Now I have to deal with Cowboy haters like Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman tomorrow on Undisputed. But I will be there. I will fight. The 49ers have our number now, but it's a long season. So he's talking about, I'm still trying to figure out this tweet. 9 hours ago, get him out of there. Texas Toast offense. Damn, Skip Bayless went in on my Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God. Dan Quinn's defense is quitting. It's just a terrible idea by Dak Prescott. I guess the decisions Dak Prescott made, but it is what it is. Look, okay, look. I consider myself an objective Dallas Cowboy fan. All right. I don't sugarcoat the Dallas Cowboys. I don't make excuses for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not like Skip Bayless and all these other Dallas Cowboy fans that think every year the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. But I will say this, and I've been saying this for quite some time now about the Dallas Cowboys. First and foremost, I think Jerry Jones has been, that deal that he made for Dak Prescott is proven to be a disaster by Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones overpaid for Dak Prescott. And really, and the person Jerry Jones should be arguing with is himself in the mirror, because this could have been all avoided if he would have signed Dak Prescott earlier instead of just waiting, to see if he's the one. All right. I think they overpay for Dak Prescott. I don't. I think Dak Prescott can win you a lot of games in the regular season. Can probably win you a playoff game, but I just do not see Dak Prescott taking us to the promised land, which is Super Bowl. All right. I feel like if you put a lot of pieces around Dak Prescott, a lot of weapons around Dak Prescott, I mean a lot of weapons. Okay. Um, you're going to get a lot of success from Dak Prescott, but then you have to put all your money on the offense and no money on the defense. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, and a lot of people don't admit to this, but the Dallas Cowboys, when they had their best success, is when they had a good to great defense, and they still had pieces on the offense. They didn't put all their money on one side. That's the point I'm trying to make. So I think the decision of waiting and waiting and waiting to see if Dak Prescott is the one, and now you paying for that decision because now you overpaid for something that if you would have signed earlier, you wouldn't have to give up so much money for Dak Prescott. Now, that Trey Lance trade, uh, uh, I think his name Trey Lance. Yeah, Trey, is his name Trey Lance, to get the quarterback for the 49ers? Okay. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm saying this right because guys, I butcher people's names on a consistent basis. Backup QB Cowboys. Okay. Well, right now it's Cooper Rush. Oh man, come on. I think it's Trey Lance. His name is Trey Lance. Yeah, Trey Lance. That's his name, Trey Lance. Um, so back to what I'm saying. I think that trade with Trey Lance is for the future. I think that deal for Trey Lance is, maybe a year, possibly 2 years in the Dallas Cowboys system as far as training him, get his foot position right, his throws right, learning the offense. I think he's a year, maybe 2 years away to compete for the starting quarterback position. But it's Cooper Rush is still their backup. They did have Cooper Rush late in the game. It didn't mean diddly squat at the end of the game, because they still lost. You know, it's not like Cooper Rush is going to have a huge successful comeback. But I'm just saying. But I feel like Jerry Jones overspent for Dak Prescott, and that was his fault because he waited so long to sign Dak Prescott. It's really putting the Dallas Cowboys in a hole, all right? Because they had to give up on other offensive pieces. Instead of signing him early, now you got money freed up to spend a little bit on the offense and still, pick very well for the defense. Now you see it. Now you see the end result of waiting. I just don't think Dak Prescott is the one. Yes, I am a Dak Prescott fan, but I'm a realist, and Dak Prescott has been given plenty of opportunities to prove me wrong, and he hasn't. All right. I don't see us winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It's gonna be a while for the Dallas Cowboys to even be very competitive. Um, to compete for a Super Bowl. All right. Because when they finally get the pieces together, their offense, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line was ranked high. And now when you look at the offense now, these same guys that they drafted years ago, guess what? You don't get younger, you get older. So now the time Dak Prescott figures it out, the offensive line is getting older. They're getting the injury bugs and everything. All right. So I think the Trey Lance decision is down the road. I feel like they're going to kick this can down the road. They're going to rebuild the offense once again, similar to what the 49ers did, okay? The 49ers, drafted very well on their defense, and they're not putting a lot of money in their quarterback. Now, Brock Purdy, he's still on an old contract, but he's proven that he should get a big time raise from the 49ers, which that's down the road for the 49ers. But they don't have to worry about that right now. They can utilize that money that they would have used on a quarterback. Now they're using that quarterback money and stretching out that money to make a complete team. All right. So that's why the 49ers are so successful. All right. The same thing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, they got their quarterback through the draft, and during that time, they didn't have to sign him to no huge big contract at that particular time. So they used that quarterback money to fill holes for the rest of the Philadelphia Eagles. And what happened? The Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl without having the most expensive athlete, which their quarterback. You're utilizing 50 to 60% of your salary from your salary cap for your quarterback. All right. And the same to be said about the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, he could have demanded a lot of money. He could have demanded to be the highest paid athlete in NFL history, but he didn't. He chose a lesser contract because he knew later on down the road the Kansas City Chiefs were going to restructure this contract, which they did. And they used that extra money to fill holes in the rest of their team. And if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they won a Super Bowl. They were in 2 Super Bowls. They won a Super Bowl and they lost a Super Bowl. But they still got a Super Bowl ring. And there's a possibility that they can win another Super Bowl. All right? So that's the new system. That's the new play. Instead of, putting all your eggs in one basket in a quarterback and putting all your salary in one quarterback, if you get your quarterback through the draft and instead of wasting all your money on that quarterback and waiting to sign him to a big contract, and then now you're up shit's creek because you don't have no money to spread out. If you get a very successful quarterback through the draft, and if you coach them up right, you could be the next Philadelphia Eagles. You could be the next Kansas City Chiefs. You could be the next 49ers. Okay? So, I think Jerry Jones looked inside out instead of outside in. He drafted Dak Prescott, and he just didn't when Dak Prescott was under that rookie contract. He should have been competing for a Super Bowl. But now, Dak Prescott is eating up a lot of your salary, and you just can't use that extra money. He's definitely not taking a pay cut. He was taking pay cuts on that rookie deal. And, when you was trying to extend him out, he's definitely not going to take one. So, I just think that, as a Cowboy fan, it's just not looking good. It's just not looking good at all for us. And hey, it is what it is, Playboy. They all can't be winners. I just think personally, the Dallas Cowboys, it's going to be a while until we reach a Super Bowl. That's just my opinion about it. I could be 1,000% wrong in my opinion, but I don't think I am. I think the Dallas Cowboys, the struggle is real over there, and I think we're going to be very competitive this season. Look, it's a young season. It don't get real serious until midway through the season, but you could look at it with the glass half full, like, still Dallas Cowboys got a decent record. They're still somewhat 500. They should have beat the Arizona Cardinals, and they would have had 1 L. Now they got 2 L's with Arizona and the 49ers. But it just does not look good from this standpoint. But it is what it is. All right. So we just gonna have to wait and see how everything plays out. And hopefully, as a Cowboy fan, and I'm a objective Dallas Cowboy fan. We're just gonna have to wait and see. All right. So we're at the 2-hour mark. I didn't think I was going to do a 2-hour podcast on Just My Opinion podcast. Okay, so before we go, please be sure to hit the like button on your way out. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Make sure it's select to all if you want to further support Just My Opinion podcast YouTube channel. Hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its privileges. You can also send super chats, super stickers. Anytime someone sends a super chat, anytime someone sends a super chat, I highlight the comment. And you can also donate through the Quiche app. Okay, $ I'm Christy Don 1. Okay. Had a great time with you guys. We covered a lot of topics. And I hope you guys enjoy these topics. So people that came in the live stream, you saw this live in effect. I appreciate that. People that's going to watch the re-air of this, I dropped a lot of gems. I dropped a lot of jewels along the way. I was being funny along the way. I was singing. So y'all got the best of both worlds on this podcast. 2-hour plus power podcast. This is the first time I ever done that on my sports channel. Okay. Also subscribe to me on my other YouTube channels as well as my social media accounts. They're in the description below. Subscribe and enjoy. You will not be disappointed. Not by a long shot. I'm kind of waiting to see if you guys are going to comment in the comment section. It seems like, you guys are watching, and that's cool. It's all good in the hood. All right. If you want to watch and just listen, I'm good like good food that way. All right. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to end it here. I will see you guys back better than ever on next Monday. Be sure to check out my other videos during the week. Something drops, if some breaking news drop, best believe I'm going to talk about it. All right. But let me check and make sure nothing has dropped news related wise. Let's just wait and see. Let me look. Google can be your friend. It really can be your friend. Okay. Some preseason games went down. I'm not gonna talk about that. You don't really talk about NBA preseason, unless something crazy or wild happened. But other than that, okay, here's something. Hold on one second, guys. I don't know how long ago this was, but I guess this was around October. This happened last night. Okay, so the Celtics and Peyton Pritchard agreed to a 4-year, $30 million extension. Boston Celtics guard Peyton Pritchard has agreed to a 4-year, $30 million contract extension. His agent, Austin Brown, and Max Sadman, and man, he got a bunch of agents. Mitch Nathan of CAA Sports told ESPN on Sunday. So yeah, this happened Sunday night. Okay. Today is Monday morning. All right. I get it now. I finally get it. The deal, which is fully guaranteed, come with the expectation that Pickerson will have a more significant role off the Celtics bench this season. Now, Pickerson said, I feel really good. After the Boston Celtics' first preseason game Sunday night, just to be secured, locked in, and be part of a great organization and a great city. Obviously, I think this is the best basketball organization and city in the NFL, NBA, and it feels good. So yeah, so congratulations to him. He deserves it. I think he's going to be an important factor to the Boston Celtics because the Boston Celtics lost. They got a lot of turnover in the offseason. Then they did do a couple of signings. They they got the unicorn to help them out. I think that'll work. And they also got the Holiday in a trade a couple of weeks ago. I think that's going to help them out as well. And we're going to have to wait and see how all these pieces fit. But you guys know what I said, particularly with those two decisions with the Boston Celtics, the most recent decision. Not to mention the fact they signed Jaylen Brown to a super max extension. I think they already got your boy already signed Tatum. He's already signed, sealed, deliver. Come on now. But yeah, I told you guys with the Holiday decision, I feel like it's between the Bucks and the Celtics, and I give the lean more towards the Celtics. And if those two organizations can stay healthy, I think they're going to be representing the East in the NBA Finals. And then on the outside looking in, yeah, I'll give it to Miami on the outside looking in as possibly a representative of the East. I highly doubt it, but I give them an outside chance. Okay. And and I give the Heat. I give an outside chance to maybe the Bulls if Ball is somewhat healthy and can contribute to the Chicago Bulls. Okay. And also give it to we got Boston, we got the Bucks. I think the Brooklyn Nets is a competitive team. Also give it to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers, is a dark horse. Everyone's sleeping on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They made a couple of decisions last year. We got to wait and see how those decisions pay off. But I also give it to the Cleveland Cavaliers as on the outside. I feel like, to me personally, or this is how I would rank them in the East. And I know a lot of people are going to say, nah, fam, you're not going to, nah. Okay, but here's my ranking for the East. It's Boston, the Bucks, okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Philadelphia Sixers, okay, and then the Miami Heat. Now, the reason why the Miami Heat went from worst went to first to worst, even though they're the fifth best team in the East in my rankings, I just didn't think the Miami Heat did enough to make you think that they can compete not only in the East, but to represent the East in the NBA Finals. Okay. What they have is a solid team. That team has been playing together for the longest when you think about all the other teams I just mentioned, but I just don't think that team is more talented than the teams I mentioned. Okay. They're definitely not I just don't. They're more experienced, but they're not as talented as the teams I just mentioned. So that's my ranking. I could be wrong in my rankings, and anything can change from now to the start of the NBA season. Who knows? The Heat might involve themselves in a trade that can potentially move them up in the rankings. Now they tried to get Dame Dollar. They tried to underbid for Dame Dollar, particularly when they had the exclusive opportunity to just get Dame Dollar. They just didn't want to give up a lot for Dame Dollar. I think the Bucks were willing to would take a chance on Dame Dollar, and they was willing to give up a lot more for Dame Dollar than the Heat, and that's why the Dame Dollar's with the Bucks. I think Giannis and Dame Dollar is going to be a 1-2 tandem. A lot of people are saying that they're the next version of Kobe and Shaq. I would say pump the brakes. Pause. Pump the brakes. Now, if you want to compare them, they compare more favorably not to Kobe and Shaq, but to Stockton and Malone. Okay, the one great thing Stockton and Malone had was chemistry, and they can play off one another. I think Dame Dollar and Giannis can play off one another, particularly when Giannis goes to the low post. He finally, thank the Lord, he finally went to Houston and talked to Akeem and to go into the lab and perfect his low post game. He can. I think he utilizes his athleticism way too much, and he needs to focus on things that when he gets older he can perfect these things, which is his turnaround, his mid shot, and his low post. I don't think he should shoot that many threes. I don't think he should. I think he should really utilize the mid range a lot more. Even though the mid range game is a lost art, it's three or bust. A lot of people say I'd rather just shoot a three than shoot a long two. That's the mentality of today's player. But I think Dame and Giannis is more Stockton and Malone than Kobe and Shaq. Okay, and that's no disrespect. I mean, Stockton and Malone. I mean, that's a great tandem there. A lot of people don't even haven't seen. Just go Google Stockton and Malone, and when you see their play style, you see how they played well together. You will understand why I see Dame Dollar and Giannis reproducing that magic. Okay. So, guys, I am finally up out of here. I really do appreciate you guys. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. I really do appreciate everyone coming in from the live portion of this live stream. I will be back better than ever next Monday morning. Be sure to check out the other videos that's going to be uploaded soon on this channel. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris Down One, and we're about to end another fabulous live stream of Just My Opinion podcast. I'm up out of here. I'll see you guys on the next live next Monday. I'm gone. Deuces, guys. Deuces.